Alrighty, welcome back to another episode of Creatives on Business. My name is Henry Marsh, and we are here yet again to chat with another creative human being about how they have created a sustainable, amazing life around their passion and what they do. Katelyn Barkhuizen, welcome to the show.
Hello, nice to see you.
Yeah, super chill. But thank you so much for being here. Tell the world out there what it is that you do, Katelyn. Who is Katelyn Barkhuizen?
Okay, so I studied fashion design. I have my degree in fashion. I studied at Villati. I also do a bit of modeling on the side. I'm a bit of an entrepreneur because of my father. I also sell laptops, which is an interesting fact about me.
Wait, I didn't know that at all.
Yeah.
You personally sell laptops?
Yeah, refurbished laptops.
What?
It's a nice industry to be in for side money. But yeah, my fashion design is my main business. I started about 3 years ago, started making dresses. It's built up over the years. Obviously, the clientele is growing by word of mouth. That's pretty much what I do.
That's amazing. So you and I actually went to school together a number of years ago. Like, we were obviously not the same year, but we were in the same school. And then we reconnected sort of through the fashion industry and modeling and stuff like that. And it's been amazing to see you grow.
And you, oh my goodness.
Thanks. We've actually done quite a lot of shoots and stuff together.
Yes.
And you've recently launched your very own bridal fashion
collection.
Yes, there we go. Thank you. Words. Tell us a little bit about that.
So I realized that in South Africa, or I think just in general all over, that the wedding industry is a huge industry to be in. I think that's where the money lies. And I guess my passion is the whole lace side of things, and that's very bridally. So I decided about last year to do a wedding dress, and we bought the material. I just never got to doing it. And then only made it now in January. And you took the photos, and I think they came out absolutely amazing.
I think the reception of the whole collection, or like just the photographs we've done, has been incredible. Like, so many people have just been
they're blown away
amazed
by it. Yeah.
And you were just telling me now you've got 75,000 views on TikTok.
Yeah, TikTok's the new thing, man. You need to get onto TikTok.
Yeah, so I'm told, literally by you and by a few other people, like TikTok is the new thing. It's funny how so many of the conversations I've had with so many different creatives, especially on this platform, have spoken so much about social media and how Instagram and now like TikTok and that kind of thing. I know you've got your own Instagram, that girl in the bikini. And like, how much of that do you also incorporate into your life? Because I feel like that's, when they see you, they think about your Instagram profile.
What do you mean by like incorporate it into my life? Like,
so do you find that
it helps my business?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. I think my Instagram has helped me. I have 28,000 followers, so the customers that I've gained from there is incredible. I think people see and look up to what I do, and I think that's also a nice thing about TikTok, why I got so many views, is it because it wasn't just another stupid video. It was actually something that I'd created from nothing, and it's actually a talent. Whereas now, TikTok's all about being dumb, so I think it's a way to go forward. And with the Instagram, a lot of people see that, and through that I think I've gained a lot of followers because they see the work that I do and the modeling and how ambitious I am in a way that I do a lot of things, and I keep people posted, and I'm very real. I'm not like gonna tell you a lie. We
were chatting just now off air. I think so much of especially the fashion industry and so much of the creative industry, especially the one that we're in, is very superficial and very shallow.
Yeah, it is.
I was saying to you that so much of the work that we've done together has been very real and very authentic in a way. I remember we did a shoot together, and you took it to your agency, and they were like, "Oh my goodness, this looks too much like you." Does that become like a bit of a problem where people have a certain identity of who you are and who you should be?
I don't know. I think a lot of people especially from Instagram, have a perception that I am fake and not real. But I guess when they meet me, I'm shy, and if people don't think that I'm shy, they think I'm very confident, but actually I'm like extremely shy. So I think once people get to know me and the person that I am, then I think the true beauty and who I really am comes out. And with regards to like ICE and the modeling industry, it's a tough industry, so they kind of want you to be you but not look like you. It's very weird, but that's why, I mean, I love those photos. I thought that was like the real me coming through, and they were like, no, maybe not so sure. I mean, eventually they posted it. I think that only the time they posted it was after I'd written that whole thing on Facebook about my I'm trying to think of the right word, about my journey through modeling. How I started, how like Amina took me years to get into ICE, and I finally got into ICE. And I think when Jane read that, I think she realized the beauty of the pictures.
What made you get into modeling?
I don't know. I've always wanted to be a model. I think it's every girl's dream. And then in school, in grade 12, my mom wouldn't let me start modeling until I was out of school. So straight after school, I went to Heads, which was a small agency. They were the only ones that were willing to take a look at me. And then they closed down without even telling me. Oh. Yeah. And then I tried Boss. I mean, I even walked into Boss, and Boss turned me down twice. Yeah. So it's been a rough ride, but I am now with ICE where I'm extremely happy.
Yeah. And I mean, you do a lot of fashion shows, and we've done a lot of shoots together where it's very fashion oriented. Do you find yourself gravitating more towards that because of your fashion degree background as well?
I think I enjoy it because I like looking at the way the clothing's made. So like I love being at the fashion shows and trying the clothes on and actually seeing what they do and being inspired by other designers. Although I find designers in South Africa are very like to themselves. They don't like to share the information, which is wrong, because no one's really then going to grow. They're just going to grow in their own way. And I think that's where we need to start working together to become better and more international, should I say.
Absolutely. And so part of the reason for the podcast that I'm busy doing right now is to literally breach those kinds of things, because I feel in so many different creative industries, whether it's fashion, whether it's photography, whether it's music, there's so many people who they don't want to share their information because they feel like I chatted to Rudo, who we both know as well, and he's like, when I'm lighting your candle, mine becomes dimmer, kind of thing. That's the mentality of so many people, is when they're giving away information, it makes them seem weaker, and you're going to be stealing my customer and my clients and that kind of thing. Whereas I sort of want to create this outlook within all industries, within all the creative industries, of a rising tide raises all ships. If we can present this kind of information to people, it'll just improve the whole industry as a whole. Because I'm sure that you found yourself where you just told me just now you're working on a dress for 2 weeks, one dress for 2 weeks.
Yeah, it's driving me insane.
And I can imagine it would be driving you insane. Like 2 weeks on anything for me would be nuts. And I'm sure there's so many clients out there who might not want to be paying the value that you're creating with a 2 week long dress. Yeah. Whereas if a lot of other people were paying or charging what they should be, then it would be so much more valuable.
Yeah, agreed.
So what's the kind of information that you're looking to put out? Or what would you want to see other fashion designers doing?
I think a lot with like to do with South Africa is that we're really restricted with regards to fabric. And I think designers are very like scared to tell people where they get their fabric from. Like I see hats and all of them using beautiful fabrics, but you can't find them where I find them, so I don't know where they're finding it, and no one really wants to share that information. And especially like you get a mesh, I don't know if you know that see-through mesh, so there's a specific mesh that you need to use for that, but no one wants to share where you can get this mesh from. So I think that's a big like restriction. I mean, if I could get hold of the fabrics that I would love to get hold of, I could design amazing things, whereas now I'm having to create my own fabric, which isn't a bad thing either, because you're learning from that as well. And I think also designers need to start like doing more things together than apart, like doing more fashion shows and not competing, but showing what you can create, and maybe even doing collaborations together with other designers. I don't know. I think there's a few things you could do to improve it.
Do you know a lot of people in the fashion industry, a lot of fashion designers? Have you had these kinds of conversations with people?
I have. I did an internship 2 years ago, and I mean, he was really he gave me all the information. I learned a lot from him, and that he actually brought that up with me, that designers don't share. And from then he opened my eyes, and I was like, oh wow, okay, they don't. And he was so open. He was like, here's the CMT, this is the printing I use, and all that. And that was so nice, because a person coming out of college having to learn that, now I can start in the industry knowing what he knows, so I don't have to go search and find. You spend years trying to find a technique or fabric or things that are going to work for you, instead of people just giving it to you so that you can start quicker. And get to where you want to.
How long were you interning for?
I interned for only about, I think it was 4 weeks, so a month.
Okay.
Yeah, it wasn't too long.
Was that something that you did straight out of university? That's something that the university offered?
Yeah, we had to do an internship. It was part of our degree.
Okay.
We had to do an internship.
Did you have to find someone yourself?
Yeah, we had to.
How did you find this person?
3 people. I'm just chatting to people, because originally I wanted to go into the magazine side of it and actually do photo shoots for the magazines, because that would bring the modeling and that together. But it was very hard to get in touch. I think it's easier when you know people. I mean, it is. That's what it comes down to, actually.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Have you found yourself especially with the modeling stuff that you do, that you've gained greater access then to designers and stuff because you're chatting to them on a regular basis? Or?
Not really, because they're there to kind of do what they need to do. They're not really focused. I mean, you actually feel intimidated to say I'm also a designer, because then I feel like they're going to judge you, or going to say oh, now she's going to steal my ideas, or I think South Africans have that mentality where actually I look at their stuff and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. I wonder how they created it.
Yes.
And I don't think they would be open to telling you. I mean, there was a fashion show I did, and the lady had a beautiful, that see-through mesh I was talking about. And I was I didn't want to say I'm a designer, so I had to approach it from a model side and say, oh my goodness, how did you get these colors to match our skin so perfectly? And she said she dyed them in tea, but I mean, did she? I don't know, because then you wouldn't be able to wash the dress, surely. So
wow.
I think they import their stuff from overseas, but they don't give you that information.
Yes.
Which sucks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You say a lot of South African designers. Have you spoken to international designers that are different?
No, I haven't. I don't think I've ever been in touch with an international designer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think, because I mean,
other than David Klale, but he is South African.
Yes,
it's not really international.
That's what I was going to touch on now, is because I don't know too much about what I know about fashion is incredibly dangerous. I've obviously photographed a few fashion shows.
Yeah.
How much of our fashion industry do you think is being broadcasted overseas, though?
I don't think it is at all, to be honest.
Do you think it's relevant, any of our stuff that we're producing?
What does really well is the whole African look, the whole shwe and the whole African vibe. That really does well, and I think that's why David Klale did so well, because he incorporated it into a modern kind of look. But I don't think our stuff gets recognized. I mean, Katelyn and George, they also are, I think, internationally recognized, but their stuff's incredible. So I think it also just comes down to being in the right place at the right time, knowing the right people. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I suppose that's for a lot of things, is right place, right time, and a whole lot of luck. But spending two weeks on a dress is also there's a lot of hard work that goes into it.
Definitely.
I'm sure. So I want to touch on a few things that you'd mentioned earlier, where you were saying the collaboration of different fashion designers. Look, again, I don't know anything about the fashion industry, but do you find that, say for instance, for a fashion show, there's a whole bunch of different fashion designers that have to create stuff that goes out on the catwalk, on the runway?
Yes.
Why doesn't anybody collab? Is it because of this idea that you're gonna steal my idea, I'm gonna steal your idea?
I think it has a lot to do with that, and clients, and taking the spotlight away from them. The things that you could create if 3 designers, really good designers, had to get together and just brainstorm. I'm sure those things could be amazing, and that could go international if you just had to work together. But yeah, it's all about making noise, I guess, in terms of getting overseas.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. So you've stated that you have got a ridiculously, like, a big social media following,
Yes.
Which is great, and you post a lot of really cool stuff, and you've started a thing with your mom where you guys post, like, behind the scenes of, like, what it takes to get a good photograph. How many photographs are you guys taking to get good stuff?
Oh my goodness, she just snaps away, like click, click, click. And then, you'll get one good photo maybe out of like 100 photos. So our phones are full of pictures.
All the duds.
Yeah. But we take photos all the time. Yeah.
We were chatting earlier as well, like the relationship that you and your mom have got is amazing. You guys just do everything together.
I don't know what I would do without it.
And you guys recently came back from, is it Bali?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yeah.
What were you doing
I wish
there?
I was back there. So what actually happened is that my boyfriend and I broke up, and I just wanted to get away, and I actually wanted to go do a yoga course in Bali, but my dad wouldn't let me go alone. So then I was like, okay, well, I mean, I'm not going to spend 30 grand on a yoga course, so why don't I just spend 30 grand on staying in nice hotels and spoiling myself?
Yeah.
And my mom just joined in because she was like, you have to have someone there taking the pictures.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So how important has the Instagram thing been? Like, how many have you found that's given you a lot of opportunities?
I definitely think it's given me a lot of opportunities in terms of like meeting brands and being able to collaborate with brands and getting out there. Like, a lot of people now know me as the girl in the bikini. I mean, even photographers don't know my name. They're like, oh, it's the girl in the bikini. But I do feel like Instagram is going backwards in a way, like with the way that they've now started filtering the feeds. So it's very hard to get exposed, like, compared to what it was. I mean, you could gain followers and likes quickly. Now you really got to try post the best things to be able to even get 1,000 likes. So I think that's social media in terms of that. I think that's why TikTok has become so big, because that's become more real than Instagram. It's not like you can filter the photos, it's a video, so you got to be real. I mean, even though it's fake because the girls are standing there looking all pretty, but it's more real than what Instagram has become. I think the younger generation looks at it and they're like, oh, I want to be like her, all perfect, but it's not really like that.
And I think that's where the authenticity thing comes through with especially with someone like yourself, where you're showing like the behind the scenes of what it takes to create something that looks really amazing, and putting the time and the effort in to go to somewhere special and get nice things, and produce like this good quality image. I think there's a lot of people who don't understand what it takes
and the hard work. Getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning to go take Instagram photos. It's not even a holiday. You have like 20 bikinis to shoot, and you got to get through them. No, but I guess that's what Instagram has become.
What's the hardest part of what it is that you do? Whether it's within the designing of the clothes for the fashion things that you do, or with the modeling? On
the modeling side, I think the hardest thing is rejection. It's like you always think, why? What was wrong with me? Why wasn't I good enough? Or, like, what can I change about myself when there's actually nothing you can change? It's not like a talent where you can just practice more to be better. It's your looks. So I think that's the hardest part in the modeling. And then with the fashion design, I don't know, I just get fed up. It's really irritating when something doesn't work. But I'm very blessed in the way that I've had it quite easily, and I've had my parents to back me financially, and I thank them for that, because without them, I don't think I'd be where I am now. But I'm lucky in the way that word of mouth has been my best selling point.
What does a typical day look like for you then? You're waking up at 5 o'clock to do photo shoots for Instagram.
Now it's TikToks.
So what does a typical day look like for you at the moment?
So I usually wake up and then do my gym, like for an hour. I like to get healthy and fit. And then I go home and literally sew the whole day nonstop. And then I see clients. I mean, I haven't had a weekend to myself since January, like when I got back from holiday, so the 5th of January, sorry. Wow. Yeah, I work through weekends, I work late, so this week I've been working till 11:30 every night, waking up early. But I guess you got to get the dress out, otherwise you'll have disappointed customers and you can't let a girl walk down with half a dress. And then dinner and bed. I do yoga and meditation every now and then when I can fit it in. I think that's also good to keep a balance. Yeah.
Do you find that meditation helps?
I do, especially with my anxiety. I have really bad anxiety. Like, I can probably say all the swear words in a minute.
Every single one?
Yes. And I sit there, and you know when you go like hot inside, like boiling. So dresses can tend to do that for me, like my anger, it just, and then dresses go flying across the room. So I think meditation helps a lot with that, and just calming my mind, because I lay there at night thinking about all the dresses that I have to actually do. And I think that just helps me. I also use sleep meditation, which is nice.
So, like, what does your meditation routine look like then? What is sleep meditation?
So, sleep meditation is like guided meditation. I have an app. I use an app for that. So, it's like guided meditation into falling into like a deep sleep. Or you get ones that just play like nice music that help you relax.
And your general meditation, is that also through an app? Like,
I use that Headspace. I don't know if you've heard of it. Yeah.
Yes.
I mean, I can do meditation on my own. It just helps when someone's telling me what to do.
Yeah. I've always found with myself with meditation, I used to do a lot of meditation, and I really, really enjoyed the process of sitting there, for 10 or 20 minutes, however long it is that you decide to do it for. But I've always found, like, finding a space where you're not going to be interrupted for like 10 or 20 minutes. Do you find that that's difficult?
So they say that you actually can't not think of anything. I actually heard this thing on YouTube the other day. I can't remember exactly what he said, but there isn't actually like a zone that you can go into. There is a point where you stop thinking about things that are unnecessary, but your brain is still thinking about not thinking about something.
Inception.
Yes. But I think just being at peace with yourself and grateful for what you have, I think that's the most important part.
You mentioned just now with the hardest part about modeling is rejection, and you're mentioning now that such a big part of why you do meditation and yoga is like being accepting of yourself. Obviously within the model industry, your looks, and as you said, like it's a big part. And you can't, there's not a hell of a lot you can do to change things. I mean, obviously, some people might go for surgery, and you're quite into your gymming, obviously, as you need to be. I say you need to be, maybe you don't need to be, who knows. So what do you use to cope with like rejection of people?
I think just with age, I think you grow a lot as a person, and that you actually realize that you don't actually care what other people think. This is who you are, and you got to accept it. And I think also with the modeling industry, it's helped me realize that. I mean, I used to come home when people used to like bring up modeling, I would just start crying because I was like, oh, I'm not pretty enough to even be accepted into an agency. And even when I was in London, I went and saw an agency and I was rejected. And I actually was like, okay, well, it's fine. I'm just not their look. And that's, I think, what you got to what it comes down to is you're not the look that they're looking for, and you need to accept that. So I think it just over time, you learn to deal with rejection. Yeah. Are
you looking to do more modeling now, like in the future? Or are you focusing more on the business of designing?
I mean, I was looking at going overseas to do like an internship for a year. But after traveling so much last year, I realized that we're actually so blessed here with what we have. I know the crime is bad, but I mean, we live in beautiful homes, spacious homes. The food we get here is amazing. So I decided that staying here is maybe a better option for now. And I mean, it's almost like life has kind of pointed me into this direction and saying, this is what you're going to do. I'm still going to do the modeling, obviously. I still want to do Cape Town season at some point, because I don't want to look back and be like, oh, I should have, could have, would have. So I'd rather do it and know that I did it. Mm-hmm. And then I do want to look at maybe going to like LA or Miami. I would love to do Miami some week. That's like my biggest goal. So yeah, it's just quite hard to get there, getting your visas and everything, your working visa.
Is that the most difficult part?
Yeah. I mean, when I saw an agency in LA, but they wouldn't even look at me because I didn't have a visa. They looked through my book and they were like, oh, your stuff's amazing. But yeah, you got to get, I don't know the exact amount of tear sheets, but you need a certain amount of tear sheets. And it's hard to get that in South Africa. I feel like our magazines and modeling agencies don't even give us that opportunity.
For people out there who don't know, what is a tear sheet?
It's like in your magazines and newspaper pages, I think. I don't know if newspaper falls under it, but I know magazines, like your pages in your magazines.
Yeah. I'm wondering about that now because, for myself as a photographer, like I've noticed personally that magazines are becoming less and less. So I wondered, do you think that they're going to change the idea of tear sheets to something else?
I would hope they would. Probably more to I know it's gone also down to social media and how many people follow you. Like in certain places, you can't even get into an agency if you don't have over 10,000 followers. So I know that has changed. But, I haven't even read the exact requirements that I need because I haven't looked at it and I need to chat to ICE about it. So we'll see once I chat to them.
You've referenced ICE a few times and they're a modeling agency. How important has it been for you to get a modeling agency?
So when I was with Pace, who, she was a wonderful lady that helped me, it was horrible going to all the castings and always seeing you're the only Pace model here. It felt like one, and you see all these ICE girls chilling together. So I think I built myself in that industry, meeting people, talking to people, and then eventually I started actually booking my own things, without an agency. And then I knew a model that organized me a meeting with ICE, and I think that's how I kind of got into ICE, and obviously just getting really good photos. Okay. As I said, we've done a lot of shoots and stuff together. What have you found that there's certain things that you enjoy most about modeling and photo shoots and stuff? I enjoy especially when it's with photographers, you're very fun and friendly and bubbly, so I think it makes it a lot easier. And then obviously getting the photos out, I think, is the best part. It's like when you make a dress, it's doing the shit work first, and then when you see the results, it's all worth it.
It's always a lot of fun for me. I've actually had this conversation with someone before because I love the process of taking photographs.
Yeah.
And someone asked me quite recently, they're like, what is something that you've always dreamt of doing with your photography? And I'm like, I really want to rock up to a shoot, have this massive production value, beautiful people, beautiful clothes, amazing scenery, photograph the crap out of this, and then go home and delete every single one of the photos.
No.
Just because I think I hate the process of editing after the fact. I've always maybe dreamt of getting someone else to do that for me.
Editing,
So someone called me an anarchist for saying this, which I suppose is a little bit true. But I'm sure there's what's the hardest part with designing a dress? What do you hate the most?
I enjoy the designing side. I think what I hate the most is the making of it. I hate patterns. Ooh, don't give me a pattern to make. I get fed up with that stuff. It's like maths, and I don't get on with maths. But I think it's the process, the sewing, the adjusting, especially when girls lose weight or gain weight, then you've got to adjust the whole dress again. And I think that's where it becomes complicated and it becomes tiring, and you don't actually want to work on that dress anymore.
Do you find that happens often?
More on the matric dance dresses. This year is my first bride. So I have 5 brides, so we'll see. I don't know how that's going to go. But with the matric dance girls, they tend to lose weight before their matric dance. I had some girls that put on weight, which was a bit more difficult because you can always take in, but it's harder to let out. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Have you sort of created a process for yourself where you take that into account, where people might pick up or lose weight closer to the time?
So now I used to start working on matric dance dresses in January, and now I'm only going to start working on them in August. So it gives the girls time now to lose what they want. And then I obviously leave the seam allowance. I leave about 1.5 centimeters on each seam.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you found, so I remember, or I've had a number of conversations with people about matric dances, where matric dances 10 or 20 years ago was like completely different to what it is now. Have you found that that's true as well?
Yes, I think weddings and matric dances, I think, have all become based off of social media and getting the perfect picture for their social media. And I think it's become a lot more like red carpet, proving a point kind of thing. Yeah.
Do you get a lot of girls who come to you and they're like, we want to look like Kim Kardashian, what can you do for us?
Not really. I think that I get girls that come and they bring me like, what is a good example? I can't even think of a dress designer now. But like a famous international dress designer, and they bring me a picture and they're like, I want this. And I'm like, okay, well, that's going to cost you about like 40 grand.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh no, but I only have a 2,000 rand budget. And I'm like, yeah, not going to happen. So I don't really get the girls saying, I want to look like this. But I think with what's nice about me designing is that I can see the girl's body shape and we look at what's going to fit her and suit her. So I also guide them in that way. And also when we go fabric shopping, we hang the fabrics and the colors on them to see what suits their skin tone. So I think that's the nice thing about getting custom made things, is that you can get something that suits your body. And if things don't work, we can always adjust it.
Yes, yeah. I didn't realize that the process of designing a dress was as personal as that. I didn't realize that you go shopping with them.
I go shopping with all my girls.
Is this so? What's the whole process then? Sort of like beginning to end. Someone comes to you for a dress idea. What's the whole process?
So they usually come for like a... What is it? Like an appointment?
A consultation.
Yes, a consultation, that's the right word. So they'll usually come for a consultation and then we discuss like what they're looking for. So I write all the things that they're looking for. Then I'll usually like design something for them, because I say like, you can't look exactly like that because you are shaped like this, or because you're short, this is going to shorten you. So then we discuss that, and then from there I go fabric shopping with them and they buy the material, but we drape the different laces and satins on them, and then they decide. I mean, some girls go there with an idea of like a bright red dress, and then we hang it on them and they're like, you know, and then they go with a completely different color. And then from there it goes into the pattern making, and then I make a mock-up, which is like out of lining, so it's just cheap lining, and then they'll come and fit that, and then I adjust that on them. And then so it's quite a process, and then you pin that all on them and you take it in, and then you readjust the patterns, and then you cut the fabric, and the fabric you got to like literally measure out, because you have to measure the grain line, because if it's not on the right grain line it pulls funny. So then you cut the fabric, and then obviously you go into the sewing, and then the applique if it has lace.
You off air again, we were chatting, and you said you've got someone who helps you with the sewing.
Yes.
Is that like quite common practice for a designer to have someone who's doing the sewing?
Yeah, I would think so. I mean, I think it helps. I wouldn't want to be doing all that hand sewing myself. And I think the more dresses you take on, the more help you need. Yeah.
I mean, obviously I think someone mentioned to me once there's this thing called fast fashion. Fast fashion.
Yes.
And obviously, I mean, there's like big factories and stuff doing the sewing for you, so I'm sure like the sewing is a massive pain in the butt to get going. And you would definitely need help to do that kind of thing. Was it difficult to find someone who sort of has the same vision with you, or is it just someone that you just tell them exactly what to do?
It still is kind of difficult. I mean, I tell her what to do, but she's not like qualified and on the same level as me, so I don't really let her sew yet. And I think I'm the kind of person that's very like pedantic about how things look, so I do the sewing because I know it's going to look the way I want to. So I've kind of just given her the hand sewing, which she's brilliant at, but eventually I'll start weaving her into learning how to actually sew, because I'm going to need help eventually sewing. I will still work on the more design dresses myself, and then give her more like my standard renting out dresses that I chatted to you about.
So for the people who don't know, what are you planning on doing?
So I'm planning on making like simple kind of basic stretch dresses that you can either buy for your bridesmaids or for your matric dance. It's just a cheaper option, or I'm going to have the option of renting dresses out.
Okay. Again, I don't know much about the dress industry, but have you noticed there are a lot of people who want to rent dresses out?
There is a market for it, I think, especially now, like with the economy and everything. I think people don't really want to spend the money that they were spending 4 or 5 years ago. But yeah, there definitely is a growing market in that. Yeah.
Have you found that that's a viable solution then for you? I mean, obviously, if it's something that you're looking to do.
Yeah, I think it just helps. I think everything being in a few places helps. I mean, don't get distracted from what your main thing is, but at least it's something that when a client comes to you and says, okay, but I don't have the budget for this, and then you can say, okay, well, I have this option.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's been one of your favorites? Failures. Now, some people ask me like, what does that even mean? But like, have you had something that's gone catastrophically wrong, but at the end of the day, it was actually like all for the like something really good came from that? Whether it's in the modeling or with the designing.
Not really. I mean, in the designing, there's been times where things have gone wrong, but I'm a perfectionist, so I always fix it. And there's been times when my mom's like, oh no, that doesn't look right. Maybe we should change it. And I'm like, oh my God. Like, I get so irritated with her. But then when I fix it, I'm like, okay, maybe I needed to fix it and it actually looks better. With the modeling, no, I think I haven't really like fallen on stage or done anything stupid. Touch wood, yeah. But I think the hardest thing was the getting into the agencies. But failure makes you stronger. So.
Yeah. So what's the future then look like for you? You mentioned quite adamantly that you're planning on staying in South Africa and that you want to create a market for yourself here.
Yeah. So
what does the future look like for Katelyn Barkhuizen?
So I definitely want to grow my business, expand my business, have a lot more people. I mean, get onto like Katsia's level. I would love to do an international show, but focus more on like African inspired clothing, because I think that's a huge market overseas that we could definitely tackle. And then obviously I'd still do the modeling and my Instagram and social media, because I think that's like for me what I enjoy. Whereas the modeling is my passion, if you could call it, like the dream, and then the fashion's kind of like what I enjoy, but it's more of business sense. And I think I don't know what else would I be.
So I want to touch on something there though, because you're the first person I've ever chatted to who's like, I really enjoy social media.
Yeah.
For myself personally, I feel I hate social media so much. I don't know, because I think of it probably from a work aspect.
Yeah.
Like it seems like work. Why do you enjoy social media so much?
I think it's the generation. I mean, I think I was in grade 10 when Instagram came out. I think it's just the generation, what we've been brought up with. I enjoy giving people something to look up to and to work towards. And it's not like I'm saying here, be fake, get lip fillers and do this. It's more inspiring girls to be better and do better. Not to lose weight and become thin, but live a healthy lifestyle. So I guess I just didn't like inspiring people, and when I was little I always said that I wanted to be someone that people look up to, like I wanted to be the next Coco Chanel. So that is my goal in terms of the fashion and the modeling. I think it goes hand in hand.
So you've always been this way, where you've always wanted to inspire people.
Yeah, I always wanted to be famous. But I think that's everyone's dream, so I kind of gave up on that one.
I mean, of the people I know, you're probably one of the more famous people. But it's amazing how you've used this platform of yours, especially with the modeling and then now with the designing and stuff. How you are inspiring people and how people do look up to you with what you're doing and with what you're creating. I just know from a personal stance with the work that we created quite recently with your wedding dresses. I think so many people don't realize how much goes into it, but like they always think it's impossible until it's done, kind of thing. And with the stuff that you've been doing, there's so much of that. With what you've created. So if you had to look back, at 10 years ago, Katelyn getting started with the modeling and the fashion and stuff like that, or maybe even 5 years ago, is there something you would tell yourself now, looking back?
Not really, because I think I've learned what I needed to learn. And I mean, even if I was shy, I was really, really shy and in like a little box and scared of what everyone thought of me. I don't think it would have changed if I'd told myself then. I think I had to grow with I don't know, with age and learning from what I've learned from, I think it's important to learn from what lessons teach you and grow from them. That's the reason they come into our lives.
What's been the biggest lesson that you've learned in the last 5 or 10 years?
Sure, to not give up, to keep going. When you get knocked down, get back up and try 10 times harder. And if it happens again, you try again and again and again until you get to where you need to be. I mean, I'm still not where I need to be. I'm still growing, still learning every day.
So starting to wind down and wrap things up a tiny little bit, where can people begin to find you on the internet?
So the girl in the bikini on Instagram, and then my fashion page is Miss KTB_fashion. So Miss KTB. And then my TikTok is also the girl in the bikini and Katelyn Barkhuizen on Instagram.
Well, I want to chat about the TikTok thing quickly.
Yes.
When did you get into TikTok?
So when we were in America with my brother in December, he was telling me how big it was, and then I met up with my friends that had moved from here. I mean, she's got 2-point-something million followers in the US, and we were just chatting about it and how much money they make over there with TikTok. And then my brother and I were like, we're going to become TikTok famous. So then, since then, we've been playing on TikTok and trying to get viral. And my dress was the first thing that kind of went semi-viral.
How do people make money off of TikTok?
So it's big. In America, in the US, they get paid like $100 a week to post one TikTok on like just one little video in a week. Yeah, it's crazy. I mean, I don't even think she pays rent for the house she lives in now. It's like a big house. It's that famous girl from Disney Channel. I don't know her name, with the red hair. Can't remember her name. And they're living it's like 5 TikTokers from around the world living in the house and basically building and making content.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really incredible.
Yeah,
do you think something like that would work and happen here?
I don't know, because even with Instagram, I think it's a bit hard to make money here. I think it's a lot easier overseas because they're willing to spend the money. I think we're like 5 years behind. So, and I also think it comes down to you saying, okay, well, this is what I charge, you know? Yeah.
Do you think people don't charge enough here?
I do think so. But I mean, I don't know enough people out there in Instagram that charge. I don't really know what they would be charging.
Yeah.
So I can't really say.
Okay. So for people out there, charge more. That's what you're people, if you're involved with Instagram or anything like that, charge more.
Exactly.
So getting to my last set of questions here, if you've got this microphone in front of you right now and it's attached to headsets to every single person on the planet, what message would you want to just give to the world right now?
Sure. I would say live a happy life. Enjoy every day. Be grateful for what you have. Really try your best to do what you want to do in this life, because you're not going to have another one. Do the things you wanted to do, and don't not do them and look back one day and say, I should have done that, because when you're too old, you're not going to be able to go back in time and do it. So rather do the things you want to now. Even if you fail, at least you know you tried.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
I could go on, but no, I'm joking.
You're welcome to. Katelyn, thank you very, very much for being on the show.
No problem.
Really
thank you for having me.
And for everybody out there who's been watching and listening, thank you very much for joining another episode with Creatives on Business. Catch you guys in the next one.
See ya.